For much of the past decade, British politics has seemed trapped in an endless cycle of division, slogans, and personality-driven conflict. Trust in politicians has fallen, millions feel ignored, and too often Westminster has appeared more interested in winning tomorrow's headlines than solving tomorrow's problems. Against that backdrop, one politician increasingly stands apart. Andy Burnham has quietly built a reputation not through dramatic soundbites, but by demonstrating that politics can still be about improving people's lives. As Mayor of Greater Manchester, he has repeatedly challenged governments of every political colour when he believed his region was being treated unfairly. More importantly, he has often done so not for personal political gain, but because he argued that the people he represented deserved better. Whether one agrees with every policy he supports is almost beside the point. What many voters appear to admire is that Burnham seems willing to put principle ahead of political convenience. In an age where too many politicians appear carefully managed by advisors and focus groups, authenticity has become one of the rarest qualities in public life. Britain desperately needs leaders prepared to talk honestly about long-term investment, housing, social care, transport, NHS reform, and the growing inequality between regions. These are not problems that can be solved with catchy campaign slogans or culture war arguments. They require patience, evidence, and a willingness to work across political divides. Burnham's emphasis on devolving power away from Whitehall also deserves serious consideration. For generations, Britain has been one of the most centralized democracies in the developed world. Decisions affecting millions are often made hundreds of miles away by people with little understanding of local circumstances. Greater local decision-making is not simply about giving mayors more authority. It is about recognizing that communities themselves frequently understand their own needs better than civil servants in Westminster. There is also something refreshingly old-fashioned about Burnham's approach. He often speaks about public service rather than celebrity politics, about responsibility rather than performance, about building institutions rather than tearing them down. These ideas may not dominate social media algorithms, but they resonate with voters who have grown tired of constant political drama. If Britain is to repair public trust, it needs politicians capable of convincing people that government can once again be a force for good, rather than a source of perpetual crisis. That does not mean bigger government for its own sake, nor does it mean rejecting business or enterprise. A successful country requires both a thriving private sector and strong public institutions. The challenge is finding the balance so that economic success benefits the many rather than concentrating opportunity and wealth in ever fewer hands. Perhaps this is where Andy Burnham offers something different. Rather than framing every issue as a battle between left and right, he is often focused on fairness, competence, and practical solutions. These are qualities that once defined successful British politics, but have become increasingly difficult to find. Could he become the figure capable of restoring faith in public life? Possibly. The country appears ready for politics that is calmer, more thoughtful, and less tribal. It wants leaders who understand that compromise is not weakness, that evidence matters, and that governing is about serving the nation rather than defeating opponents. However, optimism should never replace scrutiny. History is littered with politicians who inspired hope before disappointing those who placed their trust in them. Leadership is ultimately judged not by speeches or popularity, but by results. If Andy Burnham is to become a genuine national figure, he must prove that the qualities which have earned respect in Greater Manchester can be successfully translated to the far more demanding stage of national government. Britain has every reason to hope. It also has every reason to keep asking difficult questions. Democracy depends upon both.